Namaskar.
Namaskar. On behalf of Sri Aurobindo Society, I welcome you all and I welcome Madam Deepshikha Reddy from SACAR. She had already participated in our satsang before. When she was young, she came to the ashram. She was working in corner house, taking care of the kitchen, and later on she was asked to go to Aurobindo and teach in the school. She had met mother many times, and for a long time now, she has been associated with Sri Aurobindo Center for Advanced Research, along with Dr. Ananda Reddy ji. I welcome Madam Deepshikha Reddy ji. Today, she is going to give a talk on spirituality in daily life. Thank you, Deepshikha Reddy, for participating in our satsang. I welcome you. Over to you.
Namaskar. Thank you for giving me another opportunity to be with all of you. The group of dedicated, I shouldn't call ourselves sadhaks, that's a very big epithet to give to us, but who loves Sri Aurobindo and the mother, perhaps that'll be better, because the journey is long and today's talk is something what I was talking to Shiv Kumarji, and I think I told him that perhaps this will be a good topic to deliberate upon, because there are so many and many misunderstandings about what spirituality is and what spiritual life is. And I've heard many people speak very glibly about spiritual life. That's perhaps basically because of non-understanding of it. When one really understands what is spirituality, then one would take a completely different attitude towards life, actually. I think, first of all, it will be good if it's possible for us to clarify the distinction between the two kinds of life that we are talking about. One is a spiritual life, and the other one is our daily life, our ordinary life. Now, what is our ordinary life? We all know. In our ordinary life, we are slaves of our desires. We have no control in most of the things, right? The major distinction is that our general life, our ordinary life, is guided by our ego, with uncontrolled emotions, with mental ambitions, and all of it as we understand. As we all know, mind, life, and body. These are the that God has given us to express ourselves. So the way we express denotes whether we are having an ordinary life, living an ordinary life, or living a life of certain higher ideals. So the ordinary life, as I said just now, that it is basically and primarily guided by our ego. And what is a spiritual life? Spiritual life is our inner life. Our general, ordinary life is our daily life on this earth is the outer life. So we have a distinction between what is an outer life and what is an inner life. This inner life is called the spiritual life. Okay. Now, as we all know, that spiritual life or our inward journey is towards our soul or towards our psychic being or towards our gods or goddesses, Ishtadevata, whom we worship as the divine consciousness. It can be just anyone, it does not matter. But the discipline to reach him is almost the same in all the yogas. So that is the true spiritual life. Why we are talking about spirituality in daily life? Because basically our daily life, our ordinary life, as just now we said, is full of mind as ambitions, and ambitions, attachments, everything. It is all coming basically from our ego. Ego is the master. Sri Aurobindo in Life Divine has talked about double soul. You all must be knowing. Just now I was hearing Alok talking something from the Life Divine. I didn't hear, but you keep hearing many speakers, right? So in the double soul, he says there is one desire soul and there is one our soul within, right? So it is basically in our ordinary life, the desire soul is guiding us. And in this desire soul segment, it is ego which is the master, who is the director of our life. And it has as its ministers or associates desire, possessiveness, attachment, and all the lower vital uh, qualities that we have. All these are under his control. And he is the master. And we have made him the master. He wants to rule. And we have given him a kingdom to rule. And he feels very happy. And he never likes us to step into the kingdom of true master, who is our soul, our psychic being. It will always see to it that we live away. We stay away from the supreme divine, the superconscient. The true consciousness, the superconscient, the supreme consciousness of Mother and Sri Aurobindo in our case, and Krishna Bhakta's case, Sri Krishna, or whatever it is, right? Because it likes, as we all know, I don't know how much we should speak about that, pursuit of happiness. For it, the physical objects are something that it must possess for its own satisfaction. It desires them. It and all these things, they result in enhancing the greed with which, with each satisfaction, this greed, it never gets satisfied, never ever. Then we pursue activities that fulfill our vital desires, which are nothing but self-assertions or self-aggrandizement, as it is said, and that enlarges our ego all the more. and we feel very happy with all of these things, then we pursue emotional impulses, motives of possession, under the cover of love or duty or altruism. And each emotion is target based, and when they do not get fulfilled, we feel very dejected. We all know what happens. So, practically speaking, we pay a very, very heavy price on the negative side to reach a kind of happiness and peace that we feel is true happiness, which it is not, which it can never ever be. It can be some kind of a temporary happiness, but nothing at all more than that. And I think brought one or two quotations. So Aurobindo calls this ordinary life quests he calls them outward quests. In achieving that, we spend all our energy, whole life, and time that we have absolutely finally left here with no time to look within ourselves. Because we have been outward all our life. This I'm talking about our life, our ordinary life, right? So Aurobindo says in CWSA 29, page 238, the ordinary life consists in work for personal aim and satisfaction of desire under some mental or moral control, some little control, touched sometimes by a mental ideal. This is one sentence. We work for what? Then further, he says in the same volume, in page 233, a few pages here and there, I've just taken out a couple of lines which will suit our talk. From the ordinary motives of the vital being, need, desire of wealth or success or position or power or fame or the push to activity and the pleasure of manifesting their capacities, and they succeed or fail according to their capability, power of work, and the good or bad fortune, which is the result of their nature and their karma. Okay. Nature means you all know that we are all made with the help of the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. We are composed. Our nature, everything is composed with these three gunas, right? So somebody may be more rajasic, more activity oriented. He loves competitions. He loves, is curious about everything. He's ready to take all kinds of risks. He's a very courageous man on the face of it. The tamo guna gentleman would be relatively much more immobile, lazy, wouldn't like to get up, wouldn't like to work. It's okay, life is going on, let it go on just as it is. It's okay, it can go on without my getting into much of anything. And the sattvic person would be more God-oriented and morality-oriented, and he would like to do things in a way which is not actually very close to the ordinary life. You would be a little more detached. But then there is another danger, that a sattvic person, if there is anyone who has more of sattva guna, can also think in terms of seeing the world the way it is, think of leaving the world, which is not our aim. In integral yoga, we cannot afford to leave the world at any cost, at any time. So we have to live in the world, in the conditions that are prevailing in the world, and we have to know how to live with the help of God. So, hardly a very small percentage of people see the connection between the outer life and inner life. As in the first line we said, no, that the whole life, our whole life gets spent looking outward. We hardly get any time also, or need or necessity. And many times also we don't have the knowledge at all. That's also very much, that's why it's very important for us to also know a few things about life. It's very, because the way we live without any control, you know, either on our mind or emotions or passions, we fall sick, we do not know why we fall sick. What has happened? We have no idea about how sickness comes into us, how we respond to them. And so many things happen without any control. We wouldn't like to live like this, but we have to, we do. And many times we think it is the God's will. But it's not like that. We can change many things if we knew how to change. That's very important. And there are certain habits that Mother talks of. She says if we are taught from when we are young, then our whole life can be much more happy, much more free. Freedom is not having money in the bank. Freedom is not this, freedom is that. Freedom is inner freedom. She talks beautifully about it actually. So we, in the kind of life that we live, we are absolutely a puppet in the hands of the circumstances. We can't help things. We have to bear with it. And we consider, as Sri Aurobindo is saying here, what is it? Which is the result of their nature. As I said, nature, we are made of constituted of three gunas and their karma. Normally, it doesn't that much, of course. In Life Divine, he has talked, but most of the time, Mother and Sri Aurobindo do not much talk about karma. Karma has a very strong effect, no doubt. It's a huge field to discuss, no doubt. But still, because here we talk about spirituality, and spirituality can absolutely cut all the previous karmas if one can reach the divine, if one is truly trying sincerely to reach the divine. That's the only way. Okay, but then here it is, he writes that and their karma, it depends upon that. Now, the question is, can these two attitudes, one is to live within, which Sri Aurobindo keeps saying, Mother keeps saying, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Swami Vivekananda used to say, to live within. Gita, Sri Krishna, to live within. And Mother says very clearly, 50% you live within, and 50% you live in the outer world. Being influenced, being guided by the divine within, by the psychic being within. So it is a big travel within, actually. And Sri Aurobindo keeps saying, live within, live within, live within. And then work from there. Sri Krishna, Yogastha Kuru Karmani. You work being united with the divine, Yogastha. Be united with the divine, then Kuru Karmani, then you do your karma. Then you cannot go wrong because you are being guided by the Supreme. But that when it comes, when we live a spiritual life. So in short, we have understood that we have to make these two meet, the outer and the inner. Isn't it? Now, how can they meet and why they don't meet? Your Mother says that, anyway, let me read this. We don't want life as it is any longer. Many times we feel, no, today we are discussing, we have to live spiritually, or we have to have a better, truer life. Now, let me also point out one thing. Why is it that we live this life of so-called Maya or untruth, whatever one may call it, That's because Sri Aurobindo says that we have separated ourselves from the divine. We have separated ourselves from the mool truth, from the real original truth. The pursuit, why we were created, our pursuit should have been for the divine. But unfortunately, we have separated ourselves from the divine. Who has separated us? It is our ego that has separated us. And it started ruling us completely. Absolutely. And ruling us in a manner that we forget the divine, as a matter of fact. Now, that is the major reason, this dichotomy between the outer and the inner. And the distractions, the attractions of the world, of this creation is such that, it's like there was a story, I don't know if you've heard, it's a beautiful story. A lovely gift was given, but the gift was given wrapped in beautiful paper. And the person kept on opening the paper and appreciating the paper and loving the paper, the quality of it, the design on it, the painting on it, the color, the texture, everything. So much so that he never opened the box in which the true gift was there. This is exactly what is our life. We are completely mesmerized with the outer creation. This also has been created by the divine, all the same. I'm not saying that. But we are a cover of the true divine within. The body is carrying the soul. The body is carrying the spark of that real Jivatma. But we never look inside that. We live 80 years, 100 years, 60 years, whatever time. Not once we think of that. The truths that the money, the diamond that we have been put inside, that has been put within us, we never know its luster. We never know what it is. And we don't even want to know. If anybody talks to us, we say, oh, I am very busy. Today my grandson is coming, so I have to go to the airport to bring him. And then after this, we are all the time busy. First with ourselves, then with our children, then with our children's children, and then the society here. So, but then at the same time, that, many times we want to have another way of life when we are kind of a little tired. Because we realize that no, it's too much negativity, or I'm not really happy. So, I don't want falsehood and ignorance any longer, because we don't want suffering and unconsciousness, those who feel, any longer, because we don't want this kind of disorder in our life. So I'd like to go to God. I've heard that if we can, still, unfortunately, we cannot leave our and physical habits. Physical habits are terrible to leave. All these things keep happening. The mother says, one who does not pass his time in striving for wealth, that's what we think like that, or in trying to increase his comforts and well-being, to secure a good position or become an important person, a man who is not like that is mistrusted in our society. If a man is pursuing the divine and not going after wealth or earning money or fame or making a position or a status for himself, or doing something for the society, calling people, becoming more friendly, becoming more visible, that person is mistrusted. People wonder whether he is in his right mind. This is Mother's volume 3, 204 and 5 page. From there I've taken. So there is a tremendous dichotomy between material pursuit and spiritual pursuits. Very unfortunate, but true. This is the life we lead. And then we think, it's quite okay. I'm going to the temple. I'm doing this vrata. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I think this is okay. It will suffice. It has nothing to do with spirituality at all, in the least. Let me make things very clear. It is our ego which says, what is this? You are going to go to this satsang? Are you mad? At this time, they are playing these games or they are having this kitty party and all. You are going away. So you are afraid of losing friends. You are afraid of losing this and that. Fears. So many kinds of fears are there. And mother agrees. She says, yes. Obedience. We obey all these fears. That's one of the reasons that we don't turn inwards at all. Because turning inwards needs a lot of courage and a lot of control. A lot of it, as a matter of fact. But we have to now understand one thing, coming in the path of Sri Aurobindo, that material and spiritual both are needed. Even for bringing up a spiritual edifice, we need material help. There has to be an influence of each on the other. Absolutely. Otherwise, it is not possible to have an absolute spiritual society. It's not. Material progress is a must. Even in our yoga, actually, what is beauty for that matter? Mother talks about beauty. If you read that book, Four Austerities and Liberties, order, good health. What is the meaning of good health? Why is it that mother has ours is the yoga of physical transformation? Now that is something that will come in many centuries yet. But then we have to understand it mentally, that our body also has to be transformed. But before that, there are so many other things not to be transformed. Purification is there, understanding is there, keeping the ego in control, being detached, being attached to the divine. Everything is there. Many, many things, So good health is to bring the divine in, as a matter of fact, not to be a wrestler or a heavyweight lifter, not for that. She talks about beautiful environment. What is the meaning of environment? When we go to people's houses, there are sometimes you will feel so good because of the harmony and orderliness and the right attitude or the bhakti that they have within them. That is brought out into the atmosphere in the house that they live in. There are houses where you go in and you feel very uneasy because of disharmony, because of whatever you might call it, people that are living there maybe are full of greed or jealousy or disharmony with each other. There is no love, no proper love or peace in the house. And that house carries a different kind of vibration altogether. So, even mother for that matter, because we are integral in integral yoga. I still remember she used to give a lot of importance to not only good health, but also you should look beautiful. You should walk straight. You should sit in the right position. Everything, our gait, the clothes we wear, she was very particular about many things. This I am talking because I'm remembering those days. I still remember that one of my friends, elder to me, I used to call her Akka, went with a pimple. Then she said something, and then she said, okay, you should have told me it's hurting. And then she goes inside, and then she brings a small tube. In those days, they used to come from France, and says, you apply it. And she herself used to wear nail polish very, very, very light, very light color, actually. And I still remember when I was in school, I was just 12 or 13, and our principal was very strict. And he was a very good, he was a sadhu purush, actually. He was a very spiritual kind of a man. Indeed, we used to see him really meditating and all that, but he was very strict and rigid and traditional. And we were children. And one day, some nail polish was put on my nails by somebody a little elder to my class, and he saw it, and he was very upset. And he said, "You are not supposed to do that." So I said, "I'm sorry." You used to be afraid of him also. He's a very wonderful person, though. And then he said, "Go to the lab, chemistry lab, and tell them to take it out." So they put some, how do you call that? Some lotion, some acid, I don't know. And it was erased. But I was feeling very unhappy about it. I said, and I used to be a child with too many questions. I said, "But why should it have been bad? It was not looking very bad. And many people use and things like that." And that was the year where I came here when I was 13. That was the year when we came to the mother. And so I used to ask all these questions to the mother in my mind. Why I'm not feeling very bad, very good about it. I want to have an explanation why it should not be put, and nobody could tell me. They said that no, for children it's not good in the school. So when I came here the very first day, when I went to the mother, I saw she was wearing that very light whitish pinkish lipstick. I was so shocked. I said, "Mom," I mean, I didn't say anything, but I said in myself, "Oh my God, she's wearing it." That means it was not wrong. That means it was not a wrong thing. I felt so good. It was later that was described to me that why our principal was very particular. He was a very moral gentleman, very good values, wonderful person actually. He became an ashramite. Later on, a mother called him, and he was taking care of the Mother India Journal for many years. After that, he passed away. And he taught us, I think we got the most beautiful foundations because of him and some other teachers, and of course, my own father and mother. So, so she used to very much like people. She used to say, "Oh, you are looking very nice. Oh, it's a beautiful color on you," like that she used to say. I was talking about environment. I've been a teacher all through, isn't it? She made me a teacher. So she used to always talk about environment for the children, where when the children enter, they get an influence of that environment on them. So what is that? That's a material thing, isn't it? We have to create it on this earth materially, as a matter of fact. But with what qualities? Inner qualities, actually. And of course, Shiv Kumarji told me that you speak freely, and if you want to continue, you can continue later, maybe some weeks later, or as the turn comes, or something, because this is one area of discussion which first needs to be understood. Because most of the time I see people speaking, that no. I think we should have a very spiritual life. We must do meditation. We must do this. We must do that. But it's not that. It's very different, my dear friends. According to the mother, spirituality is something that we have to live every moment of our life. It's only then, it is, how to say that, yogastha, what he said, Sri Krishna said. You will be established in yoga. And yoga means, in Sanskrit, yuj dhatu means you are connected. You are connected. Two beings are connected. One is we and one is the divine. It's only then. That's the only way. Of course, this is true that when if we talk about spirituality in daily life, then one way of looking at it is that, as we know, remember and offer, as in the Gita, so it is in our yoga and also in other yogas, that every time you remember the divine, be connected with the divine and offer whatever you are doing, not only whatever you are doing, everything, whatever you are thinking in your mind, planning, whatever you are doing, whatever are your emotions from the heart, whatever, your feelings, your emotions, whatever, and whatever karma through your karma, through your body, activities through your body. Right? So then, this is not a very easy thing. Okay? Manasa vacha karmani like thing, because these are the three instruments through which our Atma, our psychic being experiences itself, right? Through each act, through each of our feelings, everything. Just I'm looking at time. It's about 20. Not easy, sorry. The most, how do you say, uh, easy way to understand, we can go into the, if you want, if you people are interested, into how to learn to detach or how not to get angry. Because these are the things that we have. We're so much detached. We have a cupboard full of saris, but tomorrow in Deepavali, if somebody gives me a sari, I accept it instead of saying that you give it to somebody else. I have enough. I buy more. I have no place to keep. When I have to, if I have to give anything, then I think 10 times, should I give this at all? Even if I have not worn it for 5 long years, I say to myself, maybe in my next musical event, it will be good if I can wear this. We are so possessive about each and everything. If you really check it out, you will see that we cannot do away not only with our possessions, our nature itself. It is so difficult to purify ourselves. We can go into details of all of that later, because it's all learning, it's all doing. Yoga and yoga sadhana is not understanding mentally. Of course, that's very important. We have to have mental understanding and acceptance both. I know so many people, they talk big, but when it comes to action, they don't think that they need to change their nature at all. They say that no, if I don't act likely, then people will not be afraid of me. They'll not understand what I am, what my position is. They're not ready to leave their own ways. That's exactly where the problem comes. So that's one thing. But what I mean to say is that one of the easier ways for a simple mind, simple person to understand is that, yes, I am supposed to remember and offer. Let me try to remember as much as possible. And we try to do it. We forget most of the time. Half an hour we forget. And then when we go to do another work, we say, oh, ma, I forgot you. It's okay, it doesn't matter. But then now I'm going to do this work. I'm going to cook a vegetable. So I offer this cooking to you. Okay. Okay, then I start doing the vegetable. Mother always says that before doing a work, you remember me, and then you remember me at the end of it. And she straight says, gratitude to the divine. Remember, everything has happened okay. It only means that it has been made to go okay by another force. Okay. And then she says, if at all you can remember me in the middle, then you remember. Otherwise, what happens when we are working 2 hours, we are working on a project or this? In the beginning, we learn to remember, because in the middle, if we think of the mother, then what will happen? My project will go wrong. That's quite fine. But at the end, we usually forget. Slowly, these things actually we learn. Say, for example, when while eating food, no, isn't it? That we first put the water, we offer. Many times we do a mantra. In our case, we just say, Christians also do, we also do. Now, why is it that we offer? One of the reasons is that when we offer the food, then the guna of the food, you see, that gets offered. And then we do not suffer from its avaguna. That is what it is. You see, it has its own repercussions also. So that doesn't happen. Now, if I go too far, then it will be, then I can give the example of Mirabai drinking poison in the name of Sri Krishna. And that's the truth of it, actually, if we can. Then Mother talks about, when she talks about being conscious, the whole word, the real true word is to be conscious about the spiritual living in our daily life. I mean, on the face of it, I'm just talking on the face of it, because when it comes to doing truly spiritual, when we can be, when we do the sadhana. And that's a completely different field altogether. And that's a very serious, very deep field that we have to go in. That's a different kind of discussion altogether. But today, we're just touching upon this outer life and a little bit of the inner life. I'm having a little problem with my eyes. So it's basically to become conscious. And as Aurobindo says, you can do anything and everything, but it all depends upon the spirit in which we are doing the thing, in which a thing is done. Okay? Uh, that's what matters most. And the same thing the mother also says, it is not the end that's important. How you are achieving it is much, much more important. So being conscious of food, I was just talking about offering the food first to the divine. So many things happens, we automatically, we are supposed to be controlled, right? Human beings mean what? What's the difference between us and the animals? Of course, I don't mean anything of that sort, because in a way we are a higher degree of animal also, very much so. Just yesterday, I was reading something about Mother talking about humans and animals, and in many, many ways, they are much superior than us, much more intuitive than us. They'll never do this over eating out of greed like we do, for that matter. However, we are not talking about that. We learn to control when we are more conscious. We learn what is the right thing for us and what is not the right thing for us. When we learn to control and when we learn to become more and more conscious in our life, in every activity, which is bringing spirituality into our outer life, we start learning things, if we are sincere, through all our activities, through all our thoughts, through all our things that come from our heart, whether it is love or any of the lower emotions, we have to purify them in any way. When we become more conscious, if we are all the time trying to be, we don't have to be pundits, we don't have to be intellectuals, we don't have to be intelligent. We have to know only one thing, that we have to remember the divine and do everything and speak to the divine or let the divine know that this is what I am doing and this is what I want your help in. Okay, so this is what is. So hold my hand. Please don't leave me alone. Just that much. And the divine never does that. It is said, no, that if we walk one step, then the divine comes 10 steps forward to help us out. Then what happens when we keep doing it out of a habit? Our life is a habit, isn't it? Huh? When we have taken it within ourselves that we have to do this. Mother has said, live for the divine, remember the divine, listen to the divine, think of the divine, talk to the divine, whatever. So I'll do that. So it's a promise to myself. I'll do. Okay. Now, when I fall many times, I'll not remember most of the time. This is how it will start. So there's no doubt about it. But later, my dear friends, things change. And I'm not yet coming into the sadhana part, which is a very different part. And as I'm telling, I'm talking about only the outer mind getting in slowly. I'm talking about the, like we have seen the banana tree, isn't it? The what is that? Vaad tand solran illa namal. So it has got layers. Illa? I'm talking about the outermost layer of that vaad tand, the white that comes, which is very good for kidney. Adhika patti na pesa. Na solran. Okay. Nothing to do with the inner. Nothing. That's a very different journey. Summa ida, if we can do, them, at least for a very long time, then what happens is that if we are sincere in doing this, then we start becoming more conscious about our speech. As mother says that most of the time, 80% or 90% nonsense. We talk things that we need not talk. We don't drive at the point. She says human beings just, she used to be so tired. There's a French conversation, not conversation. She got so tired of we talking all the time. Oh, I can never forget that one. So so we become more conscious of our speech, what we are speaking, the quality of our speech, not the extra untrue, wrong words. So many things, And the food part, I was talking, then we start getting controls. Consciousness brings us slowly to the necessary learning of controls, what to eat, what not to eat, how much to eat, how much my body, what start understanding our body. It is said, no, that mind and vital, everything is coming from up. It's the body which is coming from the subconscious. That's one of the reasons the body is so habit ridden and we do many things, again, we fall back into the same hole. Very unfortunately, that's because of this subconscious still ruling our body in many, many, many ways. That's one of the reasons Mother talks about physical education, so that we can educate ourselves, so that we can enlighten ourselves of the body, so that our body becomes more and more conscious. But then at the same time, body is a wonderful instrument of the divine. And it is so obedient. I can tell you stories about my life. Oh my God. Really, whomever I have told about the story of my cancer 1.5 year back in my body and how it, supported me, it's incredible. So body is a very, very obedient instrument. That's why it can work for 3 days, 3 nights together when we need to. If we need to finish a project or doing whatever. How are these IT people burning their bodies? My students are there. Their children complain to me. Party, party. My father never comes home. We never see the face of our father. In the morning when we get up, he is gone, kind of, and he comes when we are sleeping. So, how is the body sustaining you? Body is an extremely obedient instrument, no doubt about it. But we have to train our body rightly. It's a huge thing, actually. So then, So food is dependent, body is dependent on food. So when we start becoming conscious, there are so many things we learn while being sincere only to this only one thing: remember and offer. Remember me and offer. It is so beautiful because it is the me which is continuously pouring his grace upon this remembrance and offering. So, what's happening is that the beauty of it is that each time we are getting a drop of his grace in our remembering and offering. So, when we keep doing it, when we're walking, that is a physical exercise for our body, we are remembering and offering. In each step, we're getting help. So, whatever you might say, she talks about exercises. A house lady says, how can I do exercise? Whole time I'm working. Then she tells her about exercises. You open the window. You do like this. This is an exercise. You pick up something in your kitchen, a big box from the upper shelf. That's an exercise. You do this. How many examples she gives and says, this is also exercise. Each part of your body, you have to make it conscious. Each part. So you see how spirituality is connected with our outer life if we can make ourselves live like that and consciously. So beautifully, there are so many examples that are given. If I ever get time to tell you about the health part of our living and this exercise part, when we cannot go out and cannot do this, cannot do that, even then we can do so many things. Being at home, she talks of. Then sleep. She gives a lot of she gives it because she says one third of our life we are sleeping. If we make that unconscious, then we lose a lot of our time. So how to sleep consciously? She doesn't use the word yoga nidra, but it is yoga nidra. How to, it's a big subject. I can't speak now, but how to leave your body like a, sorry, excuse me, like a, loose cloth, Mari. And then after that at night, how to bring it together from feet to this. And then she goes, Yoga Nidra is only till this much, but she goes deep into detail and it's not easy. It's very tough. It's very tough. Everything is very tough in a way in sadhana, as a matter of fact. But even if we take, as I said, like the Vardhanda, the uppermost thing, layer, and try to do only this much. Just, okay, Baba, let's not be able to get into, if I talk to you about how to make our sleep conscious, the nights conscious, and how much work can be done of yoga through the nights, really, you'll be surprised because I was very, very much surprised when I was gathering points for that, actually. But the minimum that we can do is that we sit very, very quietly before our sleep in a concentrated position. And meditation is a very big thing. We can talk about it later. But as much as we can concentrate and go over practically the day's activities, look into it, once again offer it, and try to analyze and see where we have gone wrong. Offer it to the mother and say that let me not get into this mode of behavior ever again. I'm extremely sorry, but it has happened. So what is happening is that we are becoming more and more conscious. You see, we can look into ourselves. We can analyze ourselves. You see, when more and more we bring her in, or bring the divine consciousness in, or bring the spirituality in, right? And then after all these prayers and all, of course, it's much, much deeper. At least this much we do. and quieten the mind. The first thing she says is, and it's a long process actually, and one has to know also. However, if we have to know, if we have the aspiration to know and learn, we get to know. We get to know from wherever, through YouTube speeches, or as we are sitting together in Google, or through books, or through friends, or through any means that will be made available to us. But the aspiration should be there. Then what is necessary to be known? But then that's exactly what I personally feel, is that at least mentally let us know. And then the sadhana, she is there to help us. But then if we do not know anything, if we think this is all our life is about, then we'll never be able to do, never be able to learn. So then quieten oneself as much as possible before sleep. That's a me, and let me try to be conscious even throughout my sleep. Every little thing. When we are dealing with others, then she says what kind of consciousness you should have. Everything. Then one of the most difficult things, time is up, is how to deal with difficulties and problem times in life. Their spirituality comes of great use. Greatest use, as a matter of fact, if we know how to handle ourselves when we have it. And we are human beings. Our life is ups and downs. All of us have got different kind of circumstances all through our life. And since we are not free people, we have not yet been able to achieve that freedom that comes only with the learning of freedom of spirit. We will definitely have to be going through all these problems in life, different kind of circumstances in life. But then to have that faith in the divine, that these are coming to us only for us to learn how to walk our path towards Him, the Supreme Satchidananda. If we have that basic primary attitude and sense of surrender, and that deep aspiration that, yes, really, I want to get you, I want to walk this path, and I want to come to you. You hold my hand, I'll be conscious one day. If not today, I'll do it. I'll offer everything that I have. You teach me whatever you have to teach me, through obstacles, through struggles, through anything and everything, through joys and sufferings both. Then it is sheets that needs tremendous amount of surrender. Tremendous amount of surrender. And if we can bring in spirituality in our life in that kind of an intensive manner, then life becomes nothing but a delight to live, as a matter of fact. So these are the very superficial points that I talk to you today. This is the easiest that we can think of doing. We'll forget, but slowly we will be settled in this memory of the divine and analyzing ourselves each and every time, because ego is there. Don't forget that ego will always always try to dominate and say what you're doing is wrong. What is this thought? This is not the way. Come on, go to that party. Go there. They're waiting for you. You have this position. You cannot just fail them. Everything, mother says, the way ego will come to you, it is so attractive, it is so insistent that you will not be able to at all fight it out unless and until you are much more strongly grounded in the divine. So to be grounded in the divine itself takes a long time. And then constant analysis, constant, and never to justify oneself as being right, which we always do. It's not my fault. I have thought quite logically. I'm not wrong. That person is wrong. We never, is the ego, which will never make us see the right movements, the right path. Never, ever. So spirituality is something that is kind of making a different groove altogether within us. A completely different groove. That takes time. And that takes tremendous patience, perseverance, dedication, surrender, memory, everything, Shraddha, Nishtha, everything. So really what Mother has said, 50% you live inside, or Aurobindo has been saying, live within. Without that we cannot bring spirituality into our life at all. And then I'll now end. While doing it, in the beginning it takes time, but then when we have one single experience, a glimpse of an experience of that delight, then you will see that there are some things happening in us which are finer lines of existence, which are much more sensitive. We start becoming more sensitive. We understand before the negative suggestion comes through the channel of ego, we somewhere become a little alert, as if, we start understanding. It's a great journey, actually. And then Mother says, our, as you know, integral yoga is aspiration, rejection, and surrender. Then comes the rejection. Then we understand, and then we say, no, not at all. I am not going to be this time distracted or attracted by you, my dear. Just remain where you are. What is the right line? What is the line of truth? So don't come to me. These are small, little sensitive, or I should say, small little gains, or Mother calls them small victories. Slowly we gain. And then, we understand also slowly who are the right people for us. Whether I should go here or not. These are inner things that slowly we gain. There is also gain. We don't gain any money in this inner path. We don't earn money. We don't earn name. We don't earn fame. We rather become a little away, isolated from the society and others. But we gain other things. And those are so delightful and so beautiful that slowly this, spirituality then becomes a part of our everyday life. It takes time and it takes continuous practice. But well, there is the joy of it. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Deepshikha ji. Uh, Participants, if they have any questions, you can put before Deepshikha ji.
फोन आया था गड़बड़ रहने दो बेटा रहने दो. I would see myself. Oh, good. Very nice. Thank you. Participants seem to be very absorbed.
Any questions, if you have, please.
Thank you very much, ma'am. The doubts you had as a child about that keeping nail polish and all, and how you were shocked to find herself, and all those things. Really, people have questions but don't know when to ask, how to ask, and they get confirmed. Like that, you took us near to you guided us properly. Yes, we will feel useful to practice and get near Mother. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Actually, it is through all our activities, everything, it's really worth living this life when we can turn towards the divine. That is not only our aim, that is also our way, our path. Uh, but we have got all kinds of how do you call misconceptions, no? If we don't go to the temples, or if we don't do this, if we don't do that. I have my girl working here for us, for that matter. Um, she has now left now. She had asthma, and there was a puja in the temple, and it was raining, and she was suffering from asthma, and she said she was so much suffering. I was telling her that you better go home and rest for some time with a lot of breathing difficulty. It was raining, but then she told me, I have to go even if I get completely drenched, because otherwise I'll have this, God will get very angry. It was impossible for me to explain to them that the gods are compassionate. They never get angry. Their only anger, if at all, which is never there, they feel sorry when we do not turn towards the divine life, unfortunately. Not if I am not giving him the Naivedya, or if I am not going there for a puja, or I am not doing a vrata. I mean, I do not understand, but these things are so much even there now. I mean, whole life is yoga, actually. But yeah, with an elevated consciousness which is turned towards the divine. I cannot say that I am drinking away my life, or I am doing this, a wrong movement, and it's also yoga. Of course not. Certainly not. But then, this sense is given to us by them only. What is right and what is wrong when we turn to them. Our school education, our present life, it is, practically speaking, children do not know anything. Children's parents, my students, many of them do not know many things. I mean, the generations are changing, and they are being brought up in a very unfortunate, we feel, our generation, we feel, because the way we were and the kind of things that were taught, even if I remember my father used to say 7 o'clock meditation at home, we would sleep like this. But then, after the 10 minutes of, because after our homework would be all tired, then he would speak about Sri Krishna's Gita in those days. And that time, whatever he had taught in the Gita, I still remember today. At least these values were there in those times. The grandparents and parents used to, these days nobody does it. Nobody at all. Nobody knows our culture, our traditions. Nothing. Our values. Things are changing. But if we can tell them the main truth, and then say that whatever, you drive your car, you go from here to Tindivanam, you go from here, but just tell the Lord that, please, you drive the car, it is my hands. Okay? So you take care. So if we can instill this thing that much, that he is our everything. He is the most intimate, much more than your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, anybody. Just this much, even if we can do that right from our childhood, their childhood, and if that can be done, everything is done. Let them go to America, they'll do wrong things, but they'll be guided, because they have learned that little connection. Nothing more is needed, but it's not done. It's not given. They themselves, what mother says about vulgar and beauty? She says, you can't teach these days, tell the children, don't do this, don't do that, they'll not listen to you. Such a time has come when they will not listen anymore. So teach them the difference between what is vulgarity and what is beauty. The difference between truth and falsehood. They will judge for themselves. If this kind of dress is okay for me, of this kind of a party is okay for me, this kind of a night out is okay for me or not. Today, if we say, don't do that, child, this is not good for you, it doesn't work any further. Time cycle is changing and they must change. In evolution, that's exactly what happens. So we have to give them that power of thinking correctly, deciding correctly. So this is spirituality is the only way to live rightly, to make our children grow rightly in right direction in every way. As a matter of fact, if we know. Thank you. I think it's time for you, right? Shivji?
Yes, anybody else? Thank you, Deepshikha ji. You spoken at length about spiritual life and our ordinary life, how our ordinary life is governed by desires, and most of the time we live separated from the divine, whereas our inner life is directed towards our soul. And you've also spoken about how our desired soul, which is mostly governed by ego, which is playing a dominant role in our surface life. Because in our surface life, we work for our personal gain. And also, you have spoken about three gunas, how we are ruled by three gunas. And most of the times, we live as a puppet in the hands of circumstances. Whereas in the spiritual life, we act from within. Normally, what happens is that in our life, there is a dichotomy between the material life and the spiritual life. We don't turn towards our inmost self at all. So we have to, the only way, what the mother has advocated to all of us is to remember and offer always whatever we do, whether it's eating food or when we are whether we walk. Let's become more conscious. Whether we speak, let us become more conscious. So slowly, what happens is that you were told that we'll become more and more, we'll have more and more control over our actions, and we can also make our sleep conscious, which most of the time we spend our time in sleep unconsciously, and also offering all our mistakes and one should quieten oneself as much as possible. If we do all these things slowly, we are turning towards our inner self, and life becomes a delight to live. Why? Because why we are not turning inward? The reason is that the lure of ego is so powerful, which is preventing us from turning inside. So one should try to live within. If one tries to live within, gradually we become more and more alert to the suggestion of our ego. Of course, this requires a long practice, but it's a very interesting exercise in one's life. It makes one's life more purposeful, and each effort of us in this direction gives us joy. That's what the one mother says. Effort always gives joy. Whether we succeed in once or whether we succeed in one time, or whether it takes many times, but the effort gives joy, and certainly your speech has inspired us. Certainly it will make us become more and more conscious of our actions. Thank you very much for participating in our satsang. And the spirituality in daily life is a very long, very vast subject, and it can't be compressed in an hour. It requires many more sessions, and we look forward to many more sessions in future with you. So thank you very much, Deepshikha ji. I request that more and more you should participate in our satsang and share your thoughts with us. Thank you very much. Now this event will conclude with prayer music.
Thank you very much, Shivji. You have surmised it so very beautifully. Thank you very, very much.